Legacy Love, a Supernal Roots Signature Series Special. Episode 4 of 4. Choose love forward. A love that feels like freedom for your next chapter in life. The coronation episode. Let me ask you something. If you could meet the version of yourself who already chose love forward, who set the standard and held it? Who stopped auditioning and started requiring? Who broke the pattern? Not just understood it, but broke it. What would that version of you feel like in your body? Now just sit with that for a second, because that's who we're building today. Welcome to Supernal Roots Legacy Love Edition. This is episode 4 of 4. Greetings, spiritual kinfolk, and what's up, my beautiful, extraordinary, evolutionary revolutionaries? Yes, it took a minute. Yeah, it did. But you made it. 4 episodes, 4 real conversations, 4 layers deep into something most people spend their whole lives running from. And I don't take that lightly, because some of y'all pressed play on episode 1 and almost turned it off. Some of y'all cried in episode 2 when you saw the loop and realized it had been running for years. Some of y'all did the calm check in episode 3 and had to sit with the fact that what you've been calling love, your body had never actually felt safe in. And you stayed. You kept listening. You kept journaling. You kept showing up. Love, that takes courage, and I honor that. So let me tell you where we are in the story. In episode 1, we named the love we inherited conditional, silent, sacrificial. In episode 2, we saw the loop, trigger, reflex, story, and how it plays out across every area of life: romance, family, friendships, work. In episode 3, we came home to ourselves. Self-love as a body practice, the calm check, reparenting, and 3 standards: clarity, consistency, reciprocity. And now we seal it. Because here's what I need you to hear, and I mean really hear. Healing is not just understanding you're past it. Healing is not just understanding your past. Healing is deciding your future. Legacy love is a choice, not a vibe, not a hope, not a prayer you say while you keep tolerating the same pain. A choice. So, today, we choose love forward. Here's what you're getting in this episode. 4 decisions that end the old pattern and begin the new legacy. A clean, inarguable way to think about boundaries. A truth about negotiating your worth that might sting a little, but will absolutely set you free. A client story, a brother who actually did this, and what happened when he did. The FMK way, and what it is and why it matters. And a love forward vow that you can speak daily to keep your standard locked in. This is the coronation episode, y'all. You've done the work. Now we just lock it in. Let's do this. Part 1. The 4 legacy love decisions. If you want to keep this simple, and I always want to keep it simple because clarity is power, remember these 4 decisions. This is your compass. This is how you navigate every love choice from this point forward. Decision 1. What you keep. Not everything from your lineage is a wound. I need to say that clearly because when we start doing healing work, sometimes we throw out the whole freaking family tree. And y'all, that's not what this is about. Some things from your lineage are power, devotion, creativity, resilience, humor, prayer, perseverance, brilliance. The way your grandmother sang over the stove. The way your grandfather shook hands like he meant it. The way your people kept showing up even when the world told them not to. Keep what nourishes you. Keep what points toward your best self. Keep what you want your daughter, your son, your niece, your nephew to carry forward. Legacy is not just about breaking cycles. It's about choosing what continues. Decision 2. What you release. Release what costs you peace. Release the pattern that makes you beg for basic attention. Release the reflex that makes you overgive until you have nothing left. Release the identity that says you must suffer to be worthy of love. Release the story that says this is just how love feels in my family. Releasing is not the same as erasing. You're not pretending it didn't happen. You're choosing not to let it be your blueprint anymore. And real talk, some of what you release won't go quietly. Your nervous system is going to protest. It's going to say, but this is familiar. But this is what I know. But what if nothing better comes? Yeah, that's understood. However, that's the old programming speaking. You can acknowledge it, you breathe, and you release it anyway. Decision 3. What you heal. Healing is not a destination. It's a practice. It's what you do on the inside consistently so that the outside starts to shift. Your nervous system, your attachment style, your subconscious mind, your self-talk, your ability to receive love without deflecting it, your ability to rest without guilt, your ability to hold a boundary without your whole body going into panic mode. This is what episode 3's Calm Check was for. This is what reparenting is for. This is what the journaling is for. Healing is the work you do so you can recognize love when it actually shows up. Because sometimes we've been so deep in the pattern that healthy love feels boring. It feels unfamiliar, too easy, too calm. And love, that's the work. It's learning to let easy feel like love. Learning to let safe feel like home. Decision 4. What you choose. This is the future. This is the legacy you author. You choose. You choose clarity over confusion, consistency over inconsistency you keep excusing, reciprocity over a love that only flows one way, peace over a relationship that requires you to abandon yourself to maintain it. Safety over the familiar chaos you've mistaken for passion. Truth over a comfort that costs you your reality. And love that feels like freedom. Just say that one last part, one more time, once again with me. Love that feels like freedom. That's the standard. That's what we're talking about right now. That is what we're building. Part 2. Boundaries are love, not punishment. Let's clean something up because there is so much confusion about this word. Boundaries are not punishment. Boundaries are not threats. Boundaries are not, I'm gonna hurt you before you hurt me. No. A boundary is the instruction manual for access. Yeah, let's play that again, okay? A boundary is the instruction manual for access. It says, this is what it costs to be in relationship with me. Not in a petty way, not in a defensive way, in a self-respecting way. If someone says, I didn't know that bothered you, you can say, now you know. If they keep doing it after that, a boundary is not a speech, it's an action. A lot of people spend years explaining their boundaries to people who benefit from ignoring them. And I want you to hear this. A boundary without consequence is just a preference. You are allowed to have standards. You're allowed to move accordingly. You are allowed to stop explaining yourself to people who aren't listening. Love doesn't require you to justify your need for basic respect. Legacy love says you can have standards and be a loving, generous, gracious person. These are not opposites. They were never opposites. So do yourself a favor, okay? Write this one down. Standards are not walls. They are the door with a lock, and you hold the key. Part 3. Stop negotiating your worth. Let me be very plain with you right now. I'm going to give it to you straight, real talk, no chaser. If you have to beg for communication, if you have to chase consistency, if you have to convince someone to consider your feelings, if you have to keep proving your value, that is not love. That is auditioning. And you are not here to audition for love. Legacy love says, I don't chase, I choose. If it's not clear, it's not for me. If it's not consistent, it's not for me. If it's not respectful, it's not for me. And the old pattern is gonna try to scare you. You'll be alone. You're asking for too much. You should be grateful for what you got. But here's the truth I need you to sit with. You were alone in the relationship where you had to abandon yourself to stay. You were alone in the family role where you carried everything and no one carried you. You were alone in the friendship where you were always the therapist and never the patient. You were alone in the job that celebrated your sacrifice and ignored your humanity. So don't let fear point at emptiness and call it love. The loneliest thing in the world is being with someone who cannot actually see you. You are not asking for too much. You are finally asking for what you deserved all along. Part 4. The brother who chose love forward. I want to tell you about a client, a brother. He came to me after his third long-term relationship ended the same way all 3 did, with his partner saying some version of, "I can never reach you." And he came in defensive because from his perspective, he showed up, he provided, he was consistent, he didn't cheat, he didn't lie, he worked hard. What more was there, right? So I asked him gently, because I could see he was someone who had been strong his entire life. I asked him, "When is the last time you told someone you were scared?" And he went completely still. He said, "Men don't say that." And I said, "Where did you learn that?" He didn't have to think long. His father, who had learned it from his father, who had survived circumstances that required him to never show weakness, because weakness had consequences. That was the original wound, not weakness, survival. His grandfather's silence had been a shield, but it got passed down as a blueprint. And now, 3 generations later, this brother was losing partnerships not because he didn't love, but because the love was locked behind a wall he had inherited and never examined. We worked together. We did the work, the trigger, reflex, story breakdown. We identified that what he'd been calling being strong was actually being unavailable. And we started, slowly, to rewire that. A few months later, he called me. He said, "I went home and for the first time in my life, I told my partner I was scared. And she said, I didn't fall in love with the wall. I fell in love with the person behind it." Y'all, that man showed vulnerability just telling me that story. And I respected that. Internally, I kind of cried hearing it. Because that is what choosing love forward looks like. Not perfect, not painless, but chosen. The pattern could have continued. It had continued for 3 generations. He chose to be the one it ended with. And it changed everything. The entire paradigm shifted with that one choice. Part 5, the FMK way. I want to take a moment before we seal all this with the vow, because I realize some of y'all have been sitting with a question you haven't said out loud. Okay, I hear all of this, but how? How do I actually live it consistently? How do I make decisions when I'm triggered? How do I know what to commit to, what to release, and what to walk away from for good? Well, that question has a framework. What you've been practicing in this series, naming the love you keep, releasing what harms you, healing your standards, choosing love forward, that's not random. That is a framework. It's what I call the FMK way. And it's the work I do in depth with my spiritual kinfolk who are ready to go beyond these 4 episodes. I'm talking about folk that are ready to build the whole architecture of their lives, love, wealth, health, and their relationship with Source around one question. What do I commit to? What do I release with love? And what do I let go of for good? And that's it, y'all. That's the whole freaking thing. It's just 3 questions. Uno, dos, tres. Un, deux, trois. Just 3. Every area of your life, every relationship, every decision, all you gotta do is be mindful of 3 lovely little queries. We'll be talking about the FMK way in the coming months. But for now, know that what you've been doing in this series, well, you've already become acquainted with the framework and you've already started the practice. All right? All right. Good. Now, let's seal it. Part 6, the Love Forward Vow. We're going to close this series the way we should close any real work, with a commitment. This is the Love Forward Vow. Take some time to please speak it with me now, and speak it every day until it lives in your body, not just your mind. Please put your hand on your chest and deeply breathe in. And breathe out. Now, repeat after me. I honor my past, but I do not live there. I release what I inherited that harms me. I choose love that feels like freedom. I hold standards that protect my peace. I do not abandon myself to be chosen. I am building a new legacy. All right, and that's it. Let's do it again, but maybe slower this time. I honor my past, but I do not live there. I release what I inherited that harms me. I choose love that feels like freedom. I hold standards that protect my peace. I do not abandon myself to be chosen. I am building a new legacy. Yes, feel that. That's not just words, that's direction. That's a decision your nervous system can recognize. That is what choosing love forward sounds like. Next, let's get into some journal prompts. Write your legacy statement. All right. So, before we close, grab your journal, get that voice memo out on your phone or whatever, and write some answers, speak them out loud, whatever, and be sure to take some time to write your answers like you're writing a contract with your future self. Okay? Question 1. What pattern ends with me? Name it specifically: the behavior, the belief, the story, the reflex. Name it so clearly that your children's children will never have to name it for themselves. Question 2. What standard am I keeping from this day forward? Clarity, consistency, reciprocity, respect, rest, honesty. Write the standard in your own words, not as a wish, but as a requirement. Question 3. What kind of love am I available for now? Describe it. How it feels in your body, how it behaves in real time. You can also take note of what it never requires from you. Write it like you're writing the job description for the love that gets access to you from here on out. And those 3 answers to those 3 questions, write it, keep it, return to it, especially on the days when the old pattern knocks on the door, because it will lock y'all. And now you'll have something to read that reminds you what you chose. CTA. Call to action. One more thing before I close. If you want a short audio that you can replay anytime your body forgets what safety feels like, anytime the old pattern is loud and the new standard feels far away, I made something just for you. It's called Legacy Love: The Reset. It's a guided audio, breathwork, creative visualization, progressive relaxation, and Ho'oponopono, built to bring your nervous system home. It's only $11, but it's yours forever. This way you can have as many replays as you need. All you need to do is go to IAYAALIS.com and look for Legacy Love. Because the vow is the declaration, the reset is the practice, and you deserve both. Closing the series finale seal. All right, love. Well, you made it to the end of this series. Yay! I want you to hear me say something that I mean with my whole soul. Legacy love is not about being perfect. It never was. It is about being intentional. It's about being willing to look at what you inherited with compassion and then decide what you pass forward. You didn't choose what happened first. You didn't choose the patterns you were handed. You didn't choose the silence, the sacrifice, the conditions. But you do choose what happens next. The pattern can end with you. The love can begin with you. And the legacy can be yours on purpose. Love, please never forget your healing is their liberation. Your legacy is love, chosen on purpose. May we all continue to metaphysically and magically level up always in all ways, to miraculously manifest forever ever. Now, please be magnificently motivated and intuitively inspired to just get right out there, to go and make it so. Ashe, Asheo. This is IAYAALIS LOI, metaphysician, shaman, psychic medium, wise woman, oracle, intuitive life coach. Yep, your higher love doctor. And this has been Legacy Love, a Supernal Roots special series. 4 episodes, 4 conversations, 1 decision. And that's really it, y'all. So now, please just simply remember to choose love forward. And love, just like that, I'm out. Until next time, catch you in the next dimension. Eternal Supernal, in love we thrive. Live love, love life. Your higher love doctor, IAYAALIS. You are supernal, heavenly, celestial, divine.